Hello, welcome back to the Q&A special of All Killa, No Filla. So this is episode 101, part 2, where Rachel and I answer your burning questions. Mm-hmm. Like, why does it burn when I pee?
Rachel Fairburn. All my ancestors had cystitis.
Who says, hi, I have a Q&A queue for you both. Oh, this is interesting. What were your expectations when you started the podcast, and have you met/exceeded them? And as a follow-up, could you ever have imagined the community of legends who come together through listening? Oh, I now have a safe space on the internet, a support network in parenting, and of course a favourite podcast to thank you. Oh my God, that's so lovely. I imagined it all from the very beginning. I knew we'd tour America. I knew we'd sell out tours. I knew that hundreds of thousands of people would listen every month. And I knew that there would be a Facebook forum that would support you specifically. That's why we did it.
What you said? No, we had no idea. I had no idea.
No, I was made up when, you know what's, and it still is actually. I obviously love the legends, and I'm so proud of like how engaged and proactive and empathetic the people that like our podcast are. That says something really, it's something I think we're proud of, that we put out a podcast that attracts those kind of people. But for me, because I'm a shallow piece of shit, the thing that I love now, that I loved when we started, is when people I like, comedians, listen to it. And so when comedians started to like message and go, oh, your podcast's great, it was like, oh, that's a nice feeling. Because it's so hard to get recognised by your peers in the industry, because everyone's so in their own bubble about it. But Chloe Petts will message me and be like,
does Chloe listen?
Chloe is a big fan.
Hello, Chloe.
Grace Petrie, Sarah Pascoe, Susie Ruffle is like, on the last podcast, the name you beeped out, was it this, and this? I'm like, it is. And she was like, good. All right, see you soon. But like when people I know message about the podcast, I really love that.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really lovely.
Yeah, it is nice.
Because it makes it, not just that, it's not like that it means more or anything, or that anyone who isn't a comedian, it means less, but it's more just like, it's just a nice recognition, because I love so many of my friends' podcasts, and I'm bad for not saying, oh, I really like listening to your podcast. So I really like listening to your podcast.
Me?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind. Thank you very much.
Maybe I haven't told you.
Oh.
Imagine if I just leant over and kissed you now. Get it on camera. Come on, let's get those subscriptions up. Subscriptions? I don't even know what that is. Patreon. If you donate to the Patreon, we'll send a picture of us getting off with each other. Let's just see what the numbers say.
No. Do a poll on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, do a poll on Facebook.
I couldn't.
Fuck you.
No, it'd be so weird.
I've seen some of the people. Right, well, we're not doing it like that.
You've seen some of the people. Go on, what are you going to say here
I've
now?
seen some of the people you've got off with. I'm easily as hanging as they are.
There's been some clangers.
Yeah, there's been some clangers.
There's been absolute clangers.
Some fucking rough ones.
I've had some hard times. I'll tell you that. There's been times that I don't want to say.
You're a walking Dickens novel, aren't you?
I don't want to say The Edge, but you know.
She got off with a guy from U2.
That would be deeply embarrassing. Michelle Temple is here. Thank you, Michelle, for saving me. If you could come face to face with any of the nasty buggers you've spoken about so far to give them a piece of your mind, who would it be?
Any of my exes?
Yeah, and if you could put one of these buggers in front of one of your misogynistic prick colleagues, who would it be?
I
don't want anyone dead, Michelle.
Yeah, I don't want to kill anyone in comedy.
Although Michelle does say, love the podcast so much, perfect to binge listen to while building an IKEA flat pack. So this is where your anger's come from, Michelle. I don't want anyone dead.
No, I don't want any comedians dead.
I'll be honest with you. I mean,
the people I don't like, I'll happily watch them die on stage instead.
and it is the kind of thing that people that you don't like or that are complete arseholes, generally you don't bump into anyway, because they're not at the same gigs as you, because they're not doing very well, and rightly so. But yeah, I don't know.
What was the first bit of the question though?
If you could come face to face with any of the nasty buggers you've spoken about to give them a piece of your mind, who would it be?
Who'd you really like to cut down to size? Who needs a good talking to?
Dennis Rader.
Yes, he's the worst one. He is actually. I was listening to a podcast with his daughter the other day, and he's just horrific. Do you know what I'd rather than talking to the serial killers? I would rather talk to the like inept police force that made assumptions that allowed people to get away with it. I think I would much rather speak to someone who sort of, because they're absolutely willing to bathe themselves in glory when they catch someone, but the absolute fuck ups that happen again and again and again that allow people to get away with it. I think I'd rather stick it to the man, actually.
Yeah,
there you go.
Too right.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't want to speak to any of these people.
Just anyone.
Anyway.
Especially if they call. Someone just called me. What are you doing? Right. Rosie, I have a couple of questions for you to use in your Q&A if you'd like to use them. If you could go back to any period in history, when would it be and why?
Oh, wonderful question. Do you know what? I've always wanted to go back to the Regency time. But I would love to go, I've mentioned it twice here, to Versailles, the Palace of Versailles, when in its heyday.
You're desperate for a time slip, aren't you,
I am. When Louis XIV was sort of running the gaff, because it wasn't as delightful as you would think. Apparently, it wasn't built correctly. There was lots of people were still building it. There was no toilets. There was beautiful parts of it, but yeah, then there was disgusting parts that were covered in shit. And I don't want to see it for that. I just want to see the contrast of, what you think it's like. I'd love to go back there. So I think, Covent Garden in the 1700s as well. Yes, please. Debauchery, fun, illness. Bring it on.
That's your new tour, right?
Yeah. Cholera. Sex work. Theatre.
3 synonyms. Is that what it's called when it's a different word for the same thing?
Oh, don't start me off on
I
stuff
don't know
like
about
that.
those.
No.
Owen's nodding. Is that right?
Thanks, Owen.
Thank God a man is here to tell us. When would I go back in history? I think I'd be quite lame and I'd go back to like the 60s.
Yeah. That's me in Carnaby Street.
I think I would, like swinging 60s would be quite fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, go and see amazing bands live. I think my aspiration is as low as that. So I think any other time in history I would be a peasant with rotten teeth in my head and boils on my groin.
I mean, I'm sure my ancestors were crawling under spinning jennies and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we'd have been having a great time.
Oh, do you know what I'd like to be? You know when we were like, just like an amoeba, like an arsehole, and an eye. That seems really relaxing. I'd love some time off.
I would hate that.
Also, if you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
A capybara.
Oh, really?
I like them, yeah, they're nice.
I would be...
Funny little things.
Yeah, they are cute, aren't they?
Liked by most other animals as well.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, very popular with their fellow animals.
Where have you got this from?
I just watched a lot of videos on... In fact, if I went on my Instagram, I'd probably just come up with loads of capybara videos. I just really like them. In fact, I meant to be going to stroke some in Preston Zoo. It was a birthday present.
Right.
They're nice. They just, they just chilled out, aren't they? They're underwater and water's dripping on them and they're just like, oh, it's nice. Or, was it a carrot? I'll have a bit of that. It's just nice creatures and they, just... You never see one annoyed, which I would like.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they'd be like, oh, we've got this antisocial capybara that can't mix with anything. None of the other animals like it.
We're going to have it not even put to sleep. We're going to have it destroyed. Sadly, it was destroyed.
I think they're called a shoebill.
Oh, with the...
Hideous. It's like the size of a man, and it's grey, and it looks like a dinosaur, and it sounds like a machine gun. It's a bird, but it doesn't look like a bird, and it's got the eyes of, like, a dog, and it's got, like, a massive, wooden beak. It sounds like a machine gun when it calls. I would be that, because no one's fucking with you. No one's asking, excuse me, can you move your bag, please? Like, if you want to... Like, that's my machine gun noise.
That's a dolphin.
Yeah.
Or a Geiger counter, depending on...
Yeah, really good. Really good, actually. I'd be one of those because I just think no one's fucking with that. No one's paying that less than its male counterpart. No one's pissing about with that. I'd definitely be one of those.
See, I think I've changed my mind about capybara now because people want a bit of you, don't they? They went, oh, let's stroke it.
Yeah, someone's paying to have an experience.
Yeah,
with it.
exactly. So I've changed my mind and I'm going to go for tiger.
Oh, what? So you can be sedated and someone really boring can have a dating profile
endangered,
picture.
sort of protected on one side, but then again you might just be shot dead at any minute, and I welcome that.
And she signs off with, I want to say I love the podcast. Thank you for all the brilliant episodes. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you.
That's really nice, Rosie, but I do hate when people say keep it up. There's a phrase in Welsh which is people say dala ti, which means sort of like stick with it. And people always say when you're a learner and you know, it always comes after a compliment. They go, your Welsh is great. And they go, dala ti. And I think, why don't you stick to something? I hate it. Even when it's so nice like that, I'm like, why don't you go and fuck yourself, Rosie? Don't.
Are you me now?
Oh my God, is that what's happened? We had a rainstorm earlier and we Freaky Friday'd.
Ooh.
And you're all going to be like, am I using the right words about things? And I'm going to be like, and another fucking thing. Fuck my ass while I tell you what a cunt you are.
Oh. Do you know, uncouth.
We have swapped.
This is from Penny. Hello, Penny. We know Penny.
Oh, hi, Penny.
Hi, guys. Love you. Thank you. So, just wondered if there's anything that you feel really proud of or weirdly proud that would surprise people.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna say something that's pure Sesame Street.
Go on.
I'm really proud of my friends. I've got such an amazing group of friends. They're all so interesting and so talented, and I feel so proud that they would want to, like, know me at all.
That's nice.
You're not included, just to be clear.
Got a really tight arsehole. Well, I don't know. I suppose that what do I feel proud of? I feel proud that I've grafted. Here's what I'm proud of. Never have I arse-licked or brown-nosed anybody. Never in my life. Not sexually. Never in my life have I ever creeped to somebody or sort of flattered somebody or, done that, oh, yes, you're so wonderful kind of thing to
like
get.
simpering.
Never. I'd rather die than do that, and I've never done it in my life, and I'm so proud of that fact.
I will lick any asshole if it gets me a nice job.
Never. I'd rather die.
It's a good question, that.
It is a good question, yeah.
And got to hear you talk about arseholes, which is always nice. This is a great one from Rachel. I feel like you're going to really enjoy this one. My favourite overlooked song is The Ballad of Tom Jones by Space and Kenneth Matthews.
Oh,
it's a great song.
I disagree.
It's an epic. We'll cut a mic for that bit. What are yours? What's your favourite overlooked song? Okay, I think I can go with mine. Mamas and Papas. Mm-hmm. Have I mentioned them already?
No.
Oh, well, that's who I was thinking of seeing live in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
And the Mamas and Papas, they've got a song called Creek Alley, and I think it's the inspiration for a song on Elephant, the 2001 album by White Stripes. And that's the Boring Police going there.
We got one, boys.
Kiri's got an enemy hat on there. So yeah, there's a track called Creek Alley, and it sort of tells the story of them. The chorus isn't great. It's no one's getting fat except Mama Cass. And then at the end,
I know the song,
and they change it and say, and everybody's getting fat except Mama Cass, which I assume is sort of like a comment about how when they got successful, they immediately put pressure on Mama Elliot Cass. Do you know what my dad told me the other day? He says, I always regret I've never got that picture of me and Mama Cass sat together. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, in the 100
He's
club.
like, that's nothing. Wait till you find out about Rachel's grandfather's year.
I was like, where was this? And he said, in the 100 Club. And I went, in the 100 Club? And he went, yeah, it's a club. I was like, I know what the 100 Club is. It's like incredibly famous. Also, I played there. And he was like, oh yeah, there's a picture. He said, an ex-girlfriend stole it. Which now sounds like a lie. Now I've said it out loud. But yeah, Creek Alley, I think is a really fun song.
I would like to say that I would be so furious to know that my dad had a girlfriend before my mum, and I know that my dad had a girlfriend before my mum because he used to live in Birmingham with a woman called Shan, and I hate that fact. I cannot bear the thought of my dad ever having had another partner than my
Really?
mum. I hate it.
That is absolutely
my mum,
pathetic.
fine, not bothered. My dad, hate it.
I think I didn't like it when I was a kid. My dad used to go out with dated for a bit, took on a Welsh actress who was on like the Queen's Nose. And he's like, I took her out for a couple of dates. And I was like, what about Mum? And he was like, I didn't know your mother then. And I'm like, I don't need to hear about these other women. But now I've just sort of accepted that I think most people have been together a long time and fucked other people anyway, so.
I just hate it. And I always think that if my parents ever split up, if my mum got another partner, fine. But if my dad got another girlfriend, I would be livid.
Why?
I don't know. I just hate it. I hate it. I don't know whether it's out of sort of you know that thing of like, do you think you're my mum? There's something really deep here, isn't there?
Yeah.
That something
or it's a sort of, what is it, like Electra complex, sort of, you think that you can be a better wife than
To
the
my
other one.
dad?
Yeah.
Anyway. The song. Do you know what? I don't know. There's a song by a country musician called Carl Hayes, who is sort of, I think, mid-2000s country singer. And he's got a song called Beaumont. That's a good song that nobody knows what it is. But
You're really
give it a
struggling
listen.
to give a shit about this question, but you are trying.
Carl Hayes, Beaumont, that's a good song. Also, I think the Kinks are, not as treasured as much as they should be in this country.
Did I tell you what my partner called the Kinks in the car the other day,
No.
and I nearly pulled over and kicked him out? He called them B&M Beatles. And I was like, you're a piece of shit. And he found it hilarious, but I got genuinely irritated.
No.
I was like, they're incredible. Their back catalogue is so good.
No.
He doesn't even like the Beatles anyway, so I know what a
Oh, he's one of them, is he? He's
yeah.
one of them. I don't like the Beatles. Well, aren't you different?
Go on, what we got next?
Carl Fox, cool name. So this is a quick fire round.
Okay.
There's a few questions. Carl, both my son and I are massive fans of the podcast, although we don't listen together as my son is 19 and obviously can't be seen doing anything one of his parents might also enjoy. Okay, what skill do you have that no one else knows about?
God, if I've got any skill, I've exploited it for something.
I can wiggle my ears.
Can you? Don't do it too much, one might fall off. Oh yeah, and your whole head, like hairline, is moving with it as well.
I can lift one eyebrow. That's it.
That's a skill, having muscles in your face. I can
Skill.
hold I've definitely said this before, I can hold a pint glass aloft between my breasts.
Also, I suppose skill-wise as well, if you're going to I have done exhibitions when I used to work at the library. I've curated and worked on exhibitions. There's something that people probably don't know about me.
I can do upholstery now.
There you go.
There
you go. What quick fire this is meant to be. Do you think honesty is the best policy?
No.
Depends. Debatable. Where do you feel most like yourself?
Whoa, that's a big question, isn't it? Quick fire. Where do I feel most like myself? Well, at home in Wales, in my house.
I'd say, for me, Cornwall, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, just anywhere in Cornwall near the sea. Which celebrity would you switch lives with?
Oh, none of them all looked horrible.
No. I wouldn't switch lives with anyone.
Emma Thompson, maybe. She seems like she's got, like a nice sort of setup. You're going to have views about Emma Thompson. I cannot wait to debrief on those.
I wouldn't switch. See, it's weird when I never look at anyone and go, I wish I was them. Ever.
Really?
I've never been like that. I'm quite happy being myself. I wouldn't change my life at all.
I think I'd be one of those like internet cats. You know, those ones that are like hugely famous and rich, and then they're like really invested in keeping it alive and well.
That cat's dead now.
Yeah, that cat's dead.
That's it. That's the quick fire round from Carl Fox.
Thanks, Carl Fox. We hope you and your son enjoy it, which was sort of like really pointed when I said that. We hope you and your son enjoy it. This is from M, who says, I loved your content with your pal who worked in the mortuary. Super spooky.
Yeah.
Can you do more of that?
Nearly a year ago, that.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You could do a Murders and Hauntings series. If only Derek Okora was still about, you could have got him on the pod. Listen, that's one of the greatest thrills about Yvette Fielding's podcast is her being like, I worked with a fake medium whose name I shall not mention.
She's not saying that, is she?
Yeah, she said it on the latest one, mate. When she was actually saying that she doesn't believe in ectoplasm. It's the only thing she
God, I
doesn't
dread
believe
to
in.
think how Derek demonstrated that.
Well, she talks about him being tied to a chair and saying, I can produce ectoplasm. And I was like, Yvette, listen to yourself
Just
out
give it a
loud.
rub, Ivy. Give it a rub. I'm sorry, but is that what she said? She can't be talking about Derek.
She is absolutely talking about Derek.
Also, may I stress to you, where were we when I said about Derek Okora being deceased? And you went, when did this happen? And I said to you, the day Derek Okora died, I was at your house in Wales. I woke up in the morning, I saw the news, and I shouted through the wall, Derek Okora's dead. And you went, what?
I don't remember that.
So either you didn't hear me and just went...
Maddie loves sick.
She can't have meant Derek.
She does mean Derek. She's so specific about. She's like, whose name shall not be mentioned, but he had white hair and was from Liverpool, and his first name was Derek. Like, she's so clear that it's about Derek Acora. Anyway, yes, I think we are planning on. I think
I'd like to do a few more.
We'd like to do some maybe little live shows, but only in tiny venues.
As we're getting into the winter months.
Yes.
That'd be nice. Couple, maybe a Christmas spooky one.
That would be a really nice thing to do, a special...
Christmas spooks.
Maybe instead of doing an All Killer Live, we do a Christmas spooky thing in, like, a chapel or something like that. That would be nice, wouldn't it? We'll speak to live bookers.
We'll have a chat.
Yes, because also what's really nice is people come along with their own spooky stories, which I love. So yeah, we are going to do more. Just trying to find a time when Chris is free.
Yeah, winter would be nice. Mm-hmm. Winter evenings with our Killa No Filler and Christopher Hughes.
But also, I just think, is winter a busy time for a druid? I don't really know how it works.
Don't ask him at Christmas. You know he's a druid. Claire Gaverick. Might be a bit late, but... Well, you weren't late. You're on time, Claire. Is there a historical figure and or serial killer that you think you could take in a fight? My toxic trait is thinking that I could beat the tar out of Ray Bradbury and win. Oh my... Claire, how could you say that about Ray Bradbury?
I think there aren't many people I don't think I could beat in a fight. I've got such an inflated sense of self when it comes to fighting people because I have such a, oh my God, uncontrollable rage in me that I'm... but yours is very on the surface. Mine's simmering. I screamed so much in my house the other day. Something happened at our house. Basically, someone let their dog out and the dog had my chicken in its mouth. And this is a dog I didn't know was there, and I screamed.
Was the chicken all right?
The chicken was okay, but it was hiding in like 3 fields away, really traumatised. And I went ballistic, and I was screaming, and I was like, someone
Whose
come here.
dog was it?
We'll talk about that another time. And I was like, come and stand here now and explain to me what's going on. And I was screaming. And I've got like, I can project. I've got a big noise. And then they eventually, this is an adult came and was like, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't even look at me. And then afterwards I was like, well, that was fine. Also, I absolutely live for conflict, but I'm trying to be a better person, so I keep away from it now because my partner's nice, so I'm trying to be nice. And then I said to my partner, and I was like, do you ever do this thing where you're saying a thing? So you're like, it's a version of like, oh, do I look okay? So they go, you look amazing. So I went, oh, maybe I was a bit much there. So he'd go, no, it's great. And he went, yeah, it's really weird to see someone you love behave like that. And I was like, oh no. Because I thought he was going to come in on my side, and he was like, yeah, I've never seen that side of you.
Well, I will say now, I am on your side because the dog shouldn't have been there like that, and the chicken was in its mouth, so I am on your side.
Yeah.
Oh, so the answer was, who could think could better?
I
always think about, someone did a tweet, and it was... Charles Manson was only 5'2". Why didn't someone just knock him out? I think I could batter Charles Manson.
Even though he's unhinged.
Don't care. I'd kick the shit out of him. Who else? I think Manson, yeah.
The only one I don't fancy my chances are is Ed Kemper's just too big. He's a really big boy.
Napoleon.
That's not a serial killer.
Or historical figure.
There's not many people in history I don't think I could absolutely take. Also, I just won't give up. Would you do a pay-per-view where we fight each other?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Really thrash it all out.
Really.
We'll have a conversation about how we should price our live shows beforehand, so everything's really tense.
Do you know, it'd be funny if we both learned a different fighting discipline, so it was just a complete mess. Like if I learned, if you went for like what's it called?
What? So I'm doing
jiu-jitsu,
karate and you're doing boxing.
And I went for boxing. Yeah, I think that'd be quite funny. But no, I'm not a fighter. That's the other thing. And also my temper's very short-lived. I'm annoyed for like, I can be angry and I'll just go about something, and then it's fine.
It just disappears.
Disappears.
You're like a flare, aren't you? Just one big thing.
I am more easygoing than people give me credit for, which I find annoying actually. So yeah, there we go.
This is a question from Jess. She's got a couple of questions for the Q&A. What is the weirdest thing a legend has said to you to identify themselves as a legend? And following on from that, what is the weirdest location it's happened in? Do you know what it is sometimes people will shout things in an audience and I won't know what they're on about because it's just us having a chat and I don't remember.
Yeah, that's
It's more just like, unless unless we put it on merch, I don't remember what we said to each other.
I agree. I agree with that. Someone did shout dry bumming at me. But I was in Manchester a long time ago now, but I was with my mum. And it's just like, come on. Don't do that. What else?
It was me. I shouted dry bumming.
I haven't, people just generally like your podcasts, just nice things like that.
Yeah, it's generally nice things, isn't it?
There's never, when I went to see Liam Gallagher at Finsbury Park, a girl recognised me in the podcast, and I was absolutely fucking leathered. So that was one that I'd rather forget. Do you know, there was a nice one that happened. This story makes me look really good, so I'll tell this. On the London Underground, a year or so ago, maybe a bit longer than that, a pregnant woman got on, and I stood up to give her my seat, and she said thank you, and then she messaged me afterwards and said, "Oh, I really love the podcast," and I thought, oh my God, what a fucking, I gave someone my seat. She was like, I couldn't believe that it was you. I was like, yeah, you see. All heart. So that's nice, and I think it's just people are just generally nice, like, like your podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is funny when people do shout things out. But also sometimes you're doing a normal gig. Yeah. It's not your own show. You're on a lineup, and somebody does shout something out, and you go,
and now I have to explain.
I can't. Yeah.
Is there anyone that you won't touch on the show, and why?
I mean, you don't like Albert Fish.
I don't like Albert Fish. I just think he's a creep, and and if
it's from the sea, it's not for me, so I'm not interested.
Yeah, Albert Fish. I think we'll do one day, but I just don't like. Don't want to. Everything I've read, I don't want to read anything more about this person.
It's anything that's more recent with us as well. Like with me, it's like things like Levi Belfield, that kind of stuff. I just don't see need. I obviously it's difficult when you do true crime podcasts anyway to keep it, professional and respectful. But I got a real problem with podcasts that, if a new story breaks and they go, oh, we're doing this now. It's like, oh, we're doing the Golden State Killer. It's like, just,
Well, it's because also I think you don't have all the information, right?
Yeah,
and it's more interesting the more info you have.
Remove yourself from it a bit,
Since doing the podcast, how have
bloody nosy, this person.
Since doing the podcast, how have your opinions changed on serial killers? Are you still as interested in them, or as you were at the start, or are you getting a bit tired of it all?
No, I'm still interested. What I will say is I do feel there's a lot of true crime, and not everything's a story. That's how I feel about stuff. I mean, I sort of such a big umbrella true crime, innit? I mean, stuff like the Tinder swindler. What a load of shite that was. Because I just hate how everything's like that. That's a 45-minute show, the Tinder swindler.
Oh well, yeah, true crime. They do let's listen to it.
And also he was a cunt, the Tinder swindler. But some of those women just admit that you're after a bit of the old money. Don't act so about things. Stop. Come on. Be honest.
I'm distancing myself from this.
Be honest, right? I'm finding it difficult to have a lot of sympathy for a lot of these people.
I haven't seen the show.
Stuff like that, and I just feel like everything's drawn out, and
I think it's been interesting. There's more and more. There's a book about it at the moment as well, about the sort of the ethics of true crime, and that's one of the reasons why we've not had adverts on the podcast about, that we're trying to operate as ethically as we can in a subject area that we're interested in, which feels quite compromising anyway. And are you fueling it? Are you part of an industry? Or actually, when we started, the whole kind of our raison d'etre was there's true crime out there and it's all horrible and sensationalist, and actually a female perspective we felt was lacking, and an empathetic perspective. And I think we've stayed sort of true to that.
I think so. But then let's not pretend that true crime hasn't been around forever, because I get tired of this. Oh, what was this sudden interest in true crime? It's not a sudden interest. It has been people have been interested in true crime for centuries and centuries. You only have to look at exactly. You only have to look at the sort of the Ordinary of Newgate, which was the accounts of people that were being hanged. How many times a year does someone contact?
No, why are women so interested in true crime?
And I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Will you do our phone in? No.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Not.
So that hasn't answered your question.
Sorry, Jess.
So the answer is no. I'm not. I'm still interested in it, but I sort of have changed the way that I sort of engage with it, because I know I don't want to sit. I'd rather read about stuff than watch a 17-part Netflix I don't even have Netflix anymore. Got rid of it.
Well, I'm very surprised that when I go over to you and Tim, there's usually something true crime-ish on. Like, and I watched that thing about that mad church when I was at yours.
The religious family. Yeah,
the religious family. Yeah. But it's in the true crime area. It's not necessarily serial killers. Whereas I don't think I watch anything.
I watch. Well, the thing is, I watch less TV than I ever have done. I definitely read more, but I am more likely to watch something about mysteries or the supernatural than I am to put something on about, a true crime thing now.
Right, go on.
Oh, is it me? Yeah, where am I? Have you been listening to any podcasts in particular yourself this year? This is a quick fire.
No, I don't listen to myself ever.
No, not you. Oh. Have you been listening to any podcasts in particular yourself this year? I mean, I think it worked. Listen, Poppy Wild, who sent this in, lovely name.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
What
have you been listening to?
Okay, yes. So I have just, I absolutely love podcasts. I absolutely love. Let me have a little look now and see what I listen to, because I'm at the moment where I'm in a transitional stage. I really like You're Wrong About. I like Books That Kill. I've just started Ologies, which is different. I listened to 2-part on Vampireology, which I think would be up your street.
Okay.
The Always Sunny podcast, Catherine Ryan's podcast I really like. Radio Lab I've gone back to. The Crossbow Killer, which is sort of in... there's one called The Retrievals that is a rough listen. But yeah, all I do is listen to podcasts, really. I don't read because I'm altogether now a dum-dum. Thank you. What about you?
Well, there are several podcasts that I listen to through bafflement.
Speaking of Yvette Fielding.
I can't mention the ones that I listen to bafflement. But I tell you what I do enjoy, Ghost Huns, which is comedians Susie Priest and Hannah Bichkowski, who won The Traitors.
Oh, yeah.
Love Ghost Huns. Fantastic. I listen to a lot of, again, ghosty ones. There's one called Jim Harold's Campfire, which is a American podcast of true ghost stories. And
I thought that was his name.
No, people phone in and tell their true sort of spooky stories, and he listens very intently, and sometimes he goes, "Oh my," which I really love.
That sounds very quaint.
So yeah, that's what I've been listening to. Oh, also,
even when the sun's shining, I can only listen to stuff like that when it's like.
Yeah, it's got if it's
on a hot day, I cannot listen to someone tell a ghost story.
I can read spooky stuff, but I can't listen to spooky stuff unless it's dark. But yeah, in the summer, all year round for me. Here we go. Are you Barbie or Oppenheimer? Neither.
I knew you would hate that.
I hate it. You've seen Barbie, haven't you?
I have seen Barbie, yeah.
And?
I took the kids to see it, my friend's kids, before I went away. But truthfully, I fell asleep, but that's more a reflection of that I'm working too much at the moment. Yeah, it was really good.
I just don't care enough. I mean, I'm glad I enjoy Barbie. Oppenheimer could not give a fuck. I hate anything to do with... I hate war films.
Yeah.
And Tim, my boyfriend Tim, is going through a phase of...
Into war, is he?
Oh, God, fucking cope.
Is it because he went to Normandy?
Well, he's been to Normandy before, but him and his dad went again. So, I just got no interest in the listening to... Every time I walk past where he's listening to something, it'll be like... Hitler had invented... I'm like, I can't.
He loves Hitler. He absolutely...
anymore.
Weird that he's attracted to you, but he absolutely loves Hitler. Like
I've got a moustache.
But there's always a documentary about Hitler on in the house. There's always Spitfires flying across your television screen.
I hate it. He said to me the other day, he said, I'd just come back from a gig. He'd been at home watching Band of Brothers. And I came, and as I walked up the stairs, all I could do was... I'm like,
Maybe it was a shoe bill in the bedroom. He's like, quick, get in the cupboard, she's back.
Is he fucking a shoe bill? So and I just got in and I was like, I can't. And he said, he paused it. I thought, here we go. He said, did you have a good gig? Are you all right? Well, do you know that the Dam Busters, I went, I couldn't give a fuck, Tim. I could not be less interested. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the freedom. Could not give a fuck anymore.
Jen says, would you consider doing a podcast that's not about serial killers or changing the thesis statement of all killer to include more topics? I'll tell you now, Jen, she doesn't like change, so I don't think so.
Well, no, because I just... Well, yes and no. I mean...
we do.
We do sometimes...
Jimmy Savile?
Yeah, we did Jimmy Savile. We
Live
sometimes
shows.
do different... just like our famous murder for a live show. I just feel that if you set out and that's what you're doing, just do that. And, we can do little spin-off things like, it'd be great to do another thing with Chris.
Yeah.
Lovely to do that. But also, you've got to remember that the listeners want to listen because that's the point. And you can't just start going, you can't start going, we're a Chinese restaurant. Oh, but now we've decided we're not going to serve Chinese food. We're going to serve pies. Don't get uncomfortable because I said Chinese.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's okay.
Or the other way around, I can't say I'm a pie shop and then I'm just going to start serving Chinese food.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I've got no problem with the Chinese. I'd like to
I
say
have
that
no
now.
issue with the Chinese. Anyway, thank you.
I've got 2 more left.
Okay. I've got 2 more left.
Go on then.
Way. Philip Deed. Philip. Have you ever seen Judge John Deed?
No.
It just reminds me of my Uncle Pete, who is deceased now. Lovely, my favourite uncle. He used to go, what are you trying to tell you, Rach? Have you seen that Judge John Deed? He's hard him, you know. I was chewing. Got a bloke by the collar like that. My question is, this is quite a good one. If you made a record together, what song would you choose to cover and would you need to use auto-tune?
Well, I don't think either of us can claim to be singers.
Terrible. I've got absolutely no... I cannot sing. I can't sing. I try, but I just can't.
An iconic duet? Islands in the Stream?
Oh, Islands in the Stream.
I Got You, Babe?
PJ and Duncan.
Yes.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch us wreck the mic.
Yeah.
I think I would love to see us do an icon. Maybe we should do that Christmas single.
Yeah.
Especially for you. Something an iconic
Especially
duet.
for you. I love that song.
Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Nice.
Yes, we will sing. We won't use autotune, and it will sound like
Awful.
when Katie Price, formerly known as Jordan, sung A Whole New World.
What musicians would be your backing band, Philip asks as well.
I'd have a full children's choir. Whatever we were singing.
What about a Welsh male voice choir? It's too moving though.
We'd just be weeping, singing Islands in the Stream.
It's too moving.
Would you not want Oasis to be your backing band?
No. They're Oasis.
Not backing band vibes.
They're not backing
By the way,
band.
you can see how sparsely populated this is. This is what she's chosen to bring to the table here.
I mean, do you know what? I like these. I think they're cute, but I mean, these are things that I'd have in here, but I wouldn't give these house room in my house. We're not a...
Didn't know about that.
We're not
Didn't
a
think you'd be a
Bobbleheads
Funko Pop. It's a Funko Pop. Come on, mate.
Oh, bobbleheads. What are they? Funko. We're not a Funko Pop house. Also, a strange Liam that they've chosen, actually. Strange era for Liam. Perfect era for Noel.
Let's have a look.
Main road.
Yeah.
But weird one for Liam. But, you know.
Is this before or after he got his little hips?
This is well before his hip replacement.
It must have been an absolute agony, that poor lad.
Fucking hips are killing me. This one's live forever. If I'm lucky.
My hips will live forever because they're titanium. This is from Wednesday, who says, question for the Q&A, do you have any creepy hometown ghost stories, legends, urban myths? My hometown has a pub, and in the fireplace there's a tombstone engraved on the wall, and behind the bar there is a mummified bird in a small coffin which has a scroll inside as well, and weird bits of jewellery. No one really knows why, but it gets passed down to whoever owns the pub, and they think it's bad luck to get rid of it. The same pub was on an episode of Most Haunted as well, but the only hauntings going on are me stood at the bar asking to see the creepy coffin again. Can't wait to see you both live later in the year. Thanks for always making me belly laugh in the car.
Oh,
lovely.
Interesting. Well, where I'm from, the park Boggart Hole Clough is a haunted park, and there's meant to be. It's a story of a family, because it used to be a farm. A family had a boggart, which is a northern term for a ghost, and the boggart used to cause a bit of havoc in the house. And the family were like, "Well, we'll move," and they moved to this new place, and the boggart went with them.
There's a couple of those. A farmer recently told me about there's a ghost chair near where I live, and he was like, "Oh, I used to cycle home, and my little dynamo would go off as I went past it, and then he said every time, and then it'd come back on again.
Ooh.
And he also told me about a ghost that's really near my house, like the land boundary of my house. Well, no, I was talking about it, and I was like, oh, I don't think it's true, though. And he said it was someone who drowned in some peat, and he said, oh, no, it is because I was there when they cut the bones out.
Ooh.
And I was like, what? Because his
was he the ghost?
He's the ghost. There's no real farmers.
They were
left
my
in wills.
bones because they were my bones.
Yeah, there's a few little sort of Welsh folkloric ghost stories near me.
There's a lot really. I mean, yeah, Boggart Old Clough, Walthamstow, London. There's a haunted house there by all accounts.
Is it where Danny Robbins lives?
It's
Wow. Oh my God. Just pacing around my garden again. We're obsessed with Danny Robbins. We really like the podcast Uncanny.
Love Uncanny.
Love Uncanny.
Do I like Uncanny?
I'm obsessed with Danny Robbins' dress sense. I'll say it.
I've told you this, and if people listen to Uncanny, you'll get this. So Danny Robbins lives near me, right? And very excited. I've never seen him. Tim, my boyfriend, said to me he came.
You're saying he's a ghost?
Yeah, he came back from the park after doing a run, and he said, "I think I saw Danny Robbins in the park." I went, "Tim, you know what you saw."
I also think it's very good. So the theme tune goes, I know what I saw, which I think is the campest theme tune ever. It's like going, ooh, ghosts are real.
Oh, it's a ghost.
I'm obsessed with how he dresses, because he's like similar age to us, but he's always in sort of like...
a little bit older than us, yeah.
Yeah, trucker caps with like, like checkerboards on it, and sort of like shorts. I just think it's weird to have a play on the West End and be in denim cut-offs.
Yeah. I think he very much found his style and was like, I'm staying here.
Yeah, if it's good enough for Fall Out Boy, it's good enough for me, buddy.
Yeah, he very much stuck with it. But
I think we're not meaning to be mean here.
No,
I
love him.
Great.
I love him.
It feels like we're punching up as well because he's clearly a millionaire.
So Rachel Paris, lovely woman, great comedian.
She's great.
I got a train back from her with a gig. I don't know how we got into the subject.
You got a train back from her from a gig?
We got a train back from a gig together, and I don't know how we got into the subject, but I started talking about spooky stuff, and she said, she knows Danny Robbins, and I went, tell me everything. I went, how much does he love ghosts? Has he always been interested in ghosts? And she's like, yes, I think so, yeah. And she's such a sweet person. And
she's
she's
so
like,
lovely.
Yes, I think so. And I was like, has he ever mentioned? And she's like, I think she was completely sorry that she fucking mentioned it. I actually do think if I saw him, I'd be a bit starstruck.
I saw him backstage at Hay Festival.
Did he say hello?
No, I didn't, because I was like mesmerised by what he's wearing. It's like leopard print denim jacket.
There is an episode of Uncanny. Have you heard this one, which is Harry Called? Listen to it. You're going up to Edinburgh. Have you heard this one?
I've listened to them all.
Isn't it terrifying? I think Harry Called. Oh, I'm getting my skin. Yeah.
We'll listen to it all the way up to the fringe.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I've gone all goosey. It's fucking well scary.
I must have listened to it. Problem is that I listen to them as I'm like falling asleep behind the wheel and then wake up and be like, and the ghost was in the room with him. And I'm like, well, there's a ghost in the back of the car.
Where were we up to?
I've got one more question and you've got one more.
I've got one more.
Go for it.
Megan Phillips, big fan, long time listener. I've loved seeing you guys individually and together when you've been to Birmingham. On to my question. Have there been any Brummie serial killers? I've never heard of one, or even Brummies that have moved away and committed crimes elsewhere. Obviously very glad if we don't, but curious as to why. It's a big city, and I don't imagine our general crime rates are lower than everywhere else. Strange coincidence, undoubtedly someone who maybe has never been caught, pattern's not noticed, or has all the Cadbury chocolate mellowed our vibe.
No way. There's definitely a Birmingham serial killer.
Is there?
Yeah, definitely.
Who?
That guy who's known as Bigfoot because he was massive. Killed his victims. Maybe it's a spree. 4-day period in November 2000.
2000? Yeah, but there's no...
So, I'm looking through... There's got to be... That's very interesting.
Isn't it interesting?
I tell you what, that's on our list now. We're going to try and find... Not personally, like we haven't got the skills, but we can Google it a bit.
I think that's interesting. I mean, I don't think there are any... Also, I really like Birmingham as a city. I think it's a great place to...
I think this Philip Smith sort of... Yeah, he is a spree killer. Yeah, Digbeth.
I don't know who that is.
That guy he killed...
Fucking hell. He looks mad.
Yeah, he does look deeply mad, actually. Fair play to him.
I'll read about him on the train.
Oh, God, yeah. This looks incredibly sad. We'll make it our mission to find a serial killer in Birmingham if we have to go there and kill them ourselves.
That's a really interesting
It's
thing.
a great question, yeah. And finally, Katie says, this is a good one. How do you both decompress from the more heavy episodes? Obviously, I love the podcast, but I hope you have both have a breather between the worst people. Thanks for all you do.
It doesn't really affect me.
Big wank for me. Big wank. Blows out the cobwebs. It's got cobwebs down there. That's how bad it is.
It doesn't really...
I have to hoover them out.
Oh, do you know what's made my mouth go dry and I don't know why? Oh, I need a drink of water now. Do you know I get a dry mouth when I see babies being breastfed or having a bottle?
No.
Yeah, makes my mouth go dry. And I think this is... The reason for this is when my
Desperate to have a go yourself?
Absolutely not. When my sister was a baby, she's 6 years younger than me, so I remember, like, oh, do you want to give the baby the bottle? And I said yes. And I was thinking, this is going on ages. But we'd forgotten to take the safety cap off.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just sucking dry air. And it's made my mouth, it makes my mouth go dry. So I associate that with...
What a great note to end it on.
No, answer the question.
I have? Oh, how do I decompress? That's why I avoid true crime, because it's like, it has to be like a work thing. I don't think I do anything specifically other than avoid true crime in all its manifestations.
The weird thing was with the Jimmy Savile thing, because we'd done so much research on it and it went on for so long, I found myself one afternoon watching a Jimmy Savile documentary. I was like, I don't need to do this anymore.
What, just out of habit?
Yeah, I was like, just switch it off now. Enough. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I mean, obviously I think, these are horrible things that have happened, but I'm quite good at going, all right.
Are you worried that you're desensitised to it?
Oh, I'm definitely not. I tell you what, I have been recently, and I had to stop watching so many depressing things. I got a bit frightened of men.
Well, interesting. I've been having this conversation a lot recently with friends of mine and acquaintances, anyone who'll listen, really. That exact thing is, it can give you a bad case of the misandries doing stuff like this.
I did for a little bit. I was a bit hyper aware of men, and I started to get a bit worried, like if I walked past a group of men on my street, or if there was men hanging around, I'd be like, it's men. And I was like, I
kind of think of anyone, and thanks for doing this, Owen, that any man that I'm around, that I'm like, it's when you try and kill me, not if. And that way I'm like, well, you can't let me down if I already assume.
Oh, maybe I'm becoming a later life lesbian. I'd love that.
I think there's plenty of people watching who would also love that as well.
Oh, let's move to Cornwall and get a cat. Oh, lovely. I'll set up an art studio even though I've got no ability. And people will still buy it because it's Cornwall.
Do you know what? I went to Cornwall. This tells a very cute story that's sort of like an uplifting end. So we're in this little shop, my partner and I, and we're buying something. And there's this little girl, she's like about 6 behind the till, and it's like half term or the holiday she's helping, but I think a nana. And then she's like, do you want to help me? And she's like, when they're like completely quiet, she's like, and so she's taking the little tags off these socks. She does it with mine. And then my partner's so sweet, he's so good with kids, he comes up and he's like, I'd like to buy these, please. And he says, but I'd really like it if someone could take that tag off. And she was like, the girl's really excited, and she takes it off, and then we're like, thank you very much, thank you for being so helpful. And she's like, she doesn't say anything. We get outside the door and she goes, I just did a customer! And she it was like from her feet, just like squealed and shouted that. It was so cute. And then my partner was like, we must go in and buy something else. So I was like, no, just like let her have the moment, just leave it. But we must buy something else for her.
Oh, that's really nice.
It was really cute, yeah.
Well, it wasn't uplifting note to end on, but I went to Cornwall as well to do the Falmouth Cringe Festival. Loved it, had a great time. Tell you what though, if you're in Falmouth, don't go to Trago Mill. You get treated like a fucking dog in there.
Well, there we go. That's thanks to our sponsor, Trago Mill, of this this episode. Thanks so much. We hope that you enjoy being able to see us,
yes,
as well as hear us,
and proof that we do wear our own merch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. And we'll be back with an episode on John Christie. Will be episode 102. Yes. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you to Owen.
Thanks to Owen.
For being our producer.
Thanks to Kath for just being there.
Yeah, thanks, Kath.
We've got Kath in the room in case Owen tries to kill us. Bye-bye.